make it with this driving. My name's Lewis. Am I going to jail? Um, 11 minutes into the event, I already have 5 books and I already spent $100.
So not everyone, but I mean, my mom is not gonna read this polyamorous story. She's like super Christian. She'd be like, "What? No."
When Warrior Princess Assassin came out, my mom, who is in her 80s, and again, super conservative Catholic, this was going to be one of the first book events of mine that she was going to come to. She was like, "I want to come support you," and I was like, "I need you to stay home with my brother." She was like, "Why? I want to come." And I actually ultimately had to like text my brother and tell him what the book was about so that she would not come, and that was an uncomfortable conversation. No, I do. I think it's a little bit of both. I think as more and more authors have written, you know, in the queer space, I think that more and more readers have read it. More and more people have gotten comfortable reading it. You know, I love that we have gotten to a point where readers are comfortable reading that kind of narrative. One of my husband's friends read Warrior Princess Assassin, and I was really nervous about him reading it because he's a white dude who's 60 years old, like, and like a super straight guy. And I was like, you know, and he's read some of my other fantasies, and then he read this one, and I was like, okay. And he texted me about how much he loved it, and how much he loved the relationship among all 3 of them. I was like, everybody can grow up and change. Like, right? It's just,
I mean, my husband's over there. I have to tell him I love him all the time now. Like, I'm not gonna look for a third unless they can support us in the community.
oh yeah. One last question, and then
So earlier in the day, before the panel, I bought 5 books, and one of the 5 books was The Demon and the Light, and that's the sequel to The Floating World. And because I bought The Demon and the Light earlier in the day, I got this little pin, which I am going to try to buy the original first pin, the companion pin, from the pin artist. I'm going to try to get them from them. But I got my book signed by XCO, and I got to meet her. She was super nice. She is a Vegas local. This is some artwork from the story. And this book is about a girl that can wield light powers, and this dude that ends up getting a bounty, and the bounty is to bring this girl in that has the light powers. So that's what this duology is about. I started reading like 30 pages. It's been so good. I've been enjoying it. This is like Final Fantasy VII vibes. The author actually comped it to like Final Fantasy VII and Studio Ghibli, like a combination of the two. And I also had The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. This also got signed. Oh, and I also got artwork for this one too. So I also got, well, my fiance got this. He begged for this because he said this one looked like Tifa. And Axio was nice enough to give it to us. I'm really happy that she gave it to us because now I'm going to keep it and I'll probably put it on my art wall. Okay. And that was from the first panel. She ended up doing a later panel throughout the day that I also attended. But the first panel she was on, she was with Zoraida Cordova, which I already had these books, but I got them signed. But I did not get them signed at the signing event. I missed her. She attended a panel, and I missed that panel because I was trying to get my signature from XCO, from Amelie Howard, who was also in the first panel, Bridget Kemmer, and JC Lee, which I ended up getting all of those signatures. My fiance actually got this for me when I got my signature from CB Lee, but she was super nice. She was super funny in her panel that she did, the first panel that I actually attended with JC Lee, Bridget Kemner, Amelie Howard, and Axio, and it was one more person. I have their book around here. Mia Heinzelman. She was super nice too. But she wrote Make Magic Noel. Oh, I love it. So that was this one. And then in this one, she said, Be a Rebel. And she has like this dope signature. Love her signature. Love her signature. So then I got a signature from Bridget Kemner, which I'm happy that I had a book from her. Her signature is so beautiful. She was so funny throughout the panel too. Her and Zoraida Cordova were making me laugh, and so was Axio. All of them were actually really funny. Amelie Howard was really funny too. JC Lee was funny in her own right too. I really liked that first panel. That first panel was pretty funny. The second panel was funny too. I think it's awesome seeing how authors have their different personalities and how they come out on a panel. Like that was amazing to me. But I bought these books by JC Lee, and she said that they're like K-pop demon hunter cure, and it's about this girl that has a nine-tailed fox, and she has to deal with a bunch of inner demons and also with the power of having the nine-tailed fox. I was like, oh, that sounds so fucking dope. So I can't wait to read that. She had a stamp. That stamp is beautiful. And she was super nice. I saw her 3 times in the day, and every single time she waved at me, she said hi. She's super nice. JC Lee was super, super nice. So I also got this one signed. And then I had not bought this book. And it was my mistake. I should have bought it at the beginning of the day. My fiance bought this for me super last minute. Luckily, somebody in the line let my fiance cut. But before that, my fiance was like trying to get me this signature. And he was like, hey, he told Amelie, he's like, hey, if I see you later throughout the day, are you going to have a different are you going to have a different signing? Because I am trying to buy your book right now, but I just got out of line, and he's getting his book signed, which I was getting my book signed by different authors. And Amelie was like, yeah, sure. As soon as if I see you throughout the day, I'm willing to sign your books. But luckily he asked somebody, hey, can I grab a book real quick? And since my fiance was like talking to all these authors, because the moment that I saw them all, I got super starstruck, and I was just like, I just went like, I'm super fucking awkward. She did like a cute little star. I'm super fucking awkward. In real life, I'm super fucking awkward. So my fiance was like talking to all of them. Got this bookmark from Amelie Howard. I got this artwork. Her stories are white shoes. Her stories are polyamorous white shoes. And then, oh, look, she gave me this. Well, she gave my fiance this over. Like, she was like, come here. Like, the second time she talked to him, because I was waiting for my signature from Axios, she goes, come here. So my fiance went over and she gave him an overlay. Then I got a star keychain. A star keychain. Literally, all these authors were amazing. And they were super fucking nice. And she also gave me this feather bookmark, which I like because it's metal and it's not too big. It's not too big, but it's amazing. I'm just so happy I got all my goodies. But yes, I can't wait to read this. I literally bought this. I bought this on Audible. The moment I got home, I was like, I need to read this book. So I'm going to be reading this book probably after I finish the Floating World duology. And then from there, I'll probably read J.C. Lee's books or finish The Girl Beneath the Sea, which I also have to write. The moderator for the first panel was Mia Heinzelman. Super nice. We also didn't buy any of her books before the panel, because we didn't know who the author was. And then when she did the panel, we're like, she's super funny. And me and my fiance were like, we should probably buy her books. And it, like, the booth was right next to the panel, so we were going to buy them. But people were already lining up for the panel. So we were like kind of split. We're like, damn, we really want to buy these books, but the signing is already happening. And there's a line for the books and there's a line for the signings. So we went to signings. We told Mia, we're like, hey, we're going to come back and get a copy of your book. And she's like, yeah, no problem. If you guys see me at my booth, I'll sign it for you. So we finished our signings and then we ran over to her booth and she was right there at her booth. Luckily, she was right there at her booth. She had been at the signing tables. She was right there at her booth. And my fiance's like, what's a good starter book? So she was like, well, a good starter book is The Friendship Contract. And she gave me this art. And it's funny because the person that was like at the counter was like, how old are you? And she said that to me, but I didn't realize. So then I looked behind like, yeah, how old are you? But there's nobody there. And I was like, you're talking to me? And she goes, yeah, you look super young. And I was like, I feel complimented right now. Because I was like, damn, I'm super old. I'm 27. I was like, I'm 27. They were like, wow, that's on Good Genes. I was like, thank you. So I can't wait to read this either. I love it. I love it. I love artwork. I need to put that on my wall too. I gotta remember to put that on my wall. So that was from the first panel. Then from there, we had a little bit of break. We ate food. We went to go get food.
Whoa, where did you cover from?
We got filled up. And I got me a little pin, a little dragon with a book pin. Got an enemies to lovers sticker. This was in a tote. I got this in a tote for being one of the first 250 people at the book festival. My fiance got one for my friend. Because she was running a little late. So I was like, hey, get one for her. So we got one for my friend. I got a tote. I got my friend a tote. And then from there, we took a little bit of break. We were walking around. We were shopping. And then from there, we went to this little boutique in a trailer. And in the boutique in the trailer, I ended up like looking for books, and I was like hoping that they would have these books from Moses Utomi. Sadly, they didn't have them there. I'll probably still end up buying them. I couldn't get a signature for him because the only books that he had were his YA series, and I did want to read it after he explained it on the panel, and I kind of regretted not buying his YA series, but I want to read his more adult series because I've seen reviewers online. Crystal Lang posted a review about them saying they were super amazing. So I wanted to buy them, but they weren't there at the book festival. And I was like, damn, I should have bought them. I should have brought them. That would have benefited me a lot more if I had brought them. So when we went to that little book trailer, what I ended up getting were these 3 books. This is about a gungle that ends up having to take over for his sister, his brother, I'm not sure, but they have a tragic passing, and he basically becomes their father. Out on the limb, I have seen this book multiple times on Book Talk. Winifred has always been wildly independent and not one to be coddled for her limb difference. Win has spent most of her life trying to prove that she can do it all on her own. With some minor adjustments, she's done just fine. Hooking up at a costume party with the incredibly charming Bo changes everything. Win finds herself pregnant and decides to keep the baby. While Bo is surprisingly elated to step up to the plate, Win is unsure whether she can handle this new challenge. Together, Win and Bo decide to get to know each other as friends and nothing more while they embark on their parenting journey together. But as they both should know by now, life rarely goes according to plan. Oh, this sounds so amazing. I can't wait to read this. I can't wait to read The Guncle too. That I feel like is going to be a little bit more sad. I also got Recursion because Brit Books, the one that has the whiteboard, is saying that everything by Blake Crouch is amazing. And I also got a recommendation 3 years ago from a coworker that was like, you need to read everything by Blake Crouch. If you're not reading everything by Blake Crouch, then what are you doing? And I was just like, but it had been somebody that I was like, I don't know if I can trust him. But then after seeing Brit Books posting and saying you got to read everything by Blake Crouch, I was like, bet I can stand behind her opinion. So reality is broken. At first, it looks like a disease, an epidemic that spreads through no known means, driving its victims mad with memories of a life they've never lived. But the force that's sweeping the world is no pathogen. It's just the first shockwave unleashed by a stunning discovery, and what's in jeopardy is not our minds, but the very fabric of time itself. In New York City, Detective Barry Sutton is closing in on the truth, and in a remote laboratory, neuroscientist Helena Smith is unaware that she alone holds the key to this mystery and the tools for fighting back. Together, Barry and Helena will have to confront their enemy before they and the world are trapped in a loop of ever-growing chaos. Ooh, that sounds fucking good. That does sound fucking good. Oh my god, they sound good. This was a book talk recommendation from one of you guys. I don't know who, but thank you to whoever this was. This one I saw multiple people online have posted this one, but I had heard of this before, and I think it just hit a little bit too close to home that I never bought it. But I think I finally want to like take a chance on it and read it. And maybe it's like an amazing book and I'm gonna absolutely fucking love it. But I think it hits too close to home, being an uncle, being a uncle, and hoping that I'm never in that situation, not because I don't love my niece and nephew, but I want them to live and grow up with their mom and have a happy life and have a stress-free life. I don't want them to go through any trauma. I never went through any trauma of losing a loved one when I was younger, but I did go through trauma, and I don't want any of my nieces and nephews to go through any trauma at all. At all. I wish them only the best. So that's why I was like hesitant on picking this book up. But I was like, you know what? Maybe now is the final. This is the time. Because I saw it and I was like, maybe now is the time to read that. I can't wait to read this. I feel like I got so many good books. And then my fiance, while we were waiting in line for the book trailer, got me a blind date with a book, but I've already opened it. Let's see if you guys can guess it. YA Queer Romance, published 2019, Goodreads a 3.70 star rating. YA Queer Romance, coming of age, friends to lovers, journey to self-love, trans rep, slow burn, heartwarming, and sweet. I got this from the Limitless TBR. Let's see if you guys can guess it. Did you guys guess it? Did you guys guess it? Did you guys guess it? Well, while you guys try to guess, I got this bookmark. It says, "Never forget, the first Pride was a riot." I love this quote. This is one of my favorite quotes because it's about throwing bricks. The Limitless TBR, little bookmark thing. My fiance got me this sticker, Cauldron Blast and Spook Blast. So I'm definitely going to use that for my Kindle. And it's a little witchy ghost. Little Witchy Ghost. It also came with Read Queer Books sticker, and it's a great day to be pridelific, or pride. I think pridelific, prideful. I don't know. I think it's pridelific. But the book is Felix Ever After. This has been on my reading list for a while. Reads with Rachel has recommended this. This is about Felix. Love has never been in love, and yes, he's painfully aware of the irony. He desperately wants to know what it's like and why it seems so easy for everyone but him to find love. What's worse is that even though he is proud of his identity, Felix also secretly fears that he's one marginalization too many, Black, queer, and transgender, to ever get his own happily ever after. When an anonymous student begins sending him transphobic messages after publicly posting Felix's dead name alongside images of him before he transitioned, Felix comes up with a plan for revenge. What he didn't count on, his catfish scenario landing him in a quasi-love triangle. But as he navigates his complicated feelings, Felix begins a journey of questioning and self-discovery that helps redefine his most important relationship. Felix Ever After is an honest and layered story about identity, falling in love, and recognizing the love you desire. So this was my mystery blind book box, and now I have a bookmark to go with it. I don't know when I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this eventually. This has been on my list. But now, as you guys can see, I have a lot more books to read. I'm definitely going to try to go through Axio's list of books in Amelie Howard's and then try to get to these ones. I feel like I just got it's a lot of books. It's a lot of books. And I got a lot of signatures too. How he feels about himself. We were just walking around aimlessly, and I ended up getting these totes for free. They give me these totes. I tried to sign up for a library card, and lo and behold, I already had a library card. That's crazy, because I even knew I had a library card. I was just trying to get another library card on Libby. Nobody tell on me. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, so then from there, I went, and I already had this book, but I bought this book earlier in the day because I saw that Nikki Payne was going to be at the book event. So I went to go get a signature from Nikki Payne, and this was by where I bought the book. She was super nice. She was like, "You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this." So this is about Fiona Ade is ready to set her plan in motion to honor the anniversary of her brother's death. She's going to steal back his brilliant invention from the ruthless corporation that stole it and claimed it as their own. As a famed Reddit detective known as Princess P.I., Fiona has used her sleuthing skills to time every step down to the minute, but with one disastrous misstep, instead of getting justice, Fiona finds herself accused of murder. Well, damn, she's right about that. Sounds interesting. Maurice Bennett is no stranger to insomnia. These days, he's not losing sleep over the cases he's solving. He's running from one he couldn't. He's been settling for small-time scandals that don't stir up the guilt he's buried. But when he spots Fiona Ade at the center of a murder investigation, something clicks, and for the first time in a long while, Maurice feels the old spark of intrigue. However, Fiona is not the helpless damsel she appears to be. She Sure, she needs Maurice's help to clear her name, but she's got an ask of her own. She wants a crash course in real-world detective work. Maurice isn't exactly thrilled with every late-night stakeout and tension-filled interrogation. Their partnership, rife with intense and unexpected chemistry, unravels a complex web of corporate crime and familial secrets. To bring the real killer to light, they'll need to trust each other, and that might be the most dangerous gamble of them all. Ooh. Ooh. That sounds good. That sounds so fucking good. That sounds so fucking good. The coffee shop in an alternate universe. So this... So when I say I'm awkward, so this... I said this on TikTok before, but when I bought this book, the cashier was like, oh my God, I really loved reading this book. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I've never read it before. And she just looked at me like, well, no shit, Sherlock. Why the fuck do you think you're here? Why the fuck do you think you're buying this? She didn't say any of this, but just the cashier looked at me like, I know you haven't read this. That's why you're here buying it. Because I was like, oh, I don't even know what this is about. I haven't even read it before. And she just looked at me like, I know you haven't. But I bought this like a couple months back. I saw it, the sprayed edges. And I was like, I need this book. I absolutely need this book. May sweetness in your life always find you. This was from C.B. Lee. This was around the same time that I got my signature from Zoraida Cordova. I can't wait to read this. Look. The artwork. I feel like I really don't want to know that much about this book. I want to go into it blind. Because this is a large cat. And it's about two girls falling in love. And I can kind of feel like I know what this is going to be about. And I kind of want to be surprised. So I don't want to know what this is about. Because I feel like it's them falling in love in an alternate universe. Or some shit like that. I want to be surprised when I open that book.
Okay. So there was kind of two ones. This is an important one. I mean, I was a really early reader. I was a really early reader. Like, it was a problem. My parents were trying to like teach me to read, and I was way ahead, and they had to wean me off of books as a thing. But around 5, I wrote a book. It was about like bunnies. About bunnies from Mars, warrior bunnies from Mars. I think that was the title. That was the book. I think my mom still has a copy. There's only one copy. I didn't like publish it. Yeah, and I mean it was creation. I think like creating something that didn't exist before is an incredible feeling. I think everybody can kind of relate to that, whether it's music or painting, and so I think I was a big reader, and I said I want to do this thing that I've been seeing other people do, and when I did it, it was from there to take off.
I wrote a personal essay. You know, you have to write your college essay. I wrote my college essay and I showed it to my English teacher at the time, and he read it and he started crying, and I was like, I'm so powerful. And then he ran across the room and showed it to my math teacher, and he read it and he started crying, and I was like, oh, I love this, I'm so strong. But then they said, oh, I think my English teacher, he said, I think you should take creative writing when you're at university. So that was sort of like, and then even at university, I submitted a short story, and it was like I went to UCSD, San Diego, and it was like the program was like experimental fiction. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna write really experimental fiction. I wrote this really weird, like trippy story, and then all the students were like, I didn't get it, and they were all like, the teacher brought me aside after class, and she goes, they didn't get it, but you're talented. I was like, thanks, teacher. But it did feel very validating that I felt very seen when my teachers would read the stories. They would make a point to tell me that I'm doing something that they think I should continue with. And I did. So I actually went to, I got my MFA in writing, but I also just went on with it. I continued to do it, and yeah. So that was not any interview. That's original content for you guys.
Would anyone else like to attribute original content? Vita, if you want to talk about your first writing?
Sure. I didn't quite acknowledge I wanted to be a writer until much older. But if I look back, I was writing since second grade. I loved fantasy, and I didn't start out being a reader, but then when I became a reader, I was a reader. When I was in trouble, I would get grounded from reading. My mom would be like, "Hey, give me your book, go play outside." So it was just always in me. I just didn't recognize it till I was much older. But looking back, I lost myself. I found myself in books. I feel so much comfort with a book and learning about someone else's story. And I create my own, even though I didn't think I want to be an author when I grow up.
I did a road trip romance once, and I had to basically meticulously plot it out based on weather and location. So that took a lot of planning. And then when I wrote my Shakespeare adaptations, the plot outline was pretty much there for me. Illusions of Fire was also, I had a blueprint to go off of. But some of my other romances, I kind of know where I'm going to end up, and I know where I want to start, and I like to just enjoy the process of getting there. So I think George R. R. Martin calls it architect and gardener. So you're an architect because you have all the blueprints before you begin digging, or you're a gardener by planting certain ideas and then just seeing what grows. It sort of depends on the story which one I am at whatever given time. I'm currently studying to get my PhD. I'm a Reese Scholar, so I spend a lot of time in libraries. I do a lot of primary source research, so I read the Mahabharata, multiple iterations of it. I talk to a lot of mythologists and theologists as well. And I even took an archery class because I had a lot of 15-year-olds running around with bows and arrows, and I needed to actually make it sound believable. And I didn't know how heavy it was, how it felt, what were the dangers of holding compound bows. So I took a class. I also did interviews with people who own vineyards, even though that's such a tiny little piece in the story where the demons hide their blood drinking habits in a vineyard. I did that as well. So I really get deep in the research. My problem is stopping the research and starting the writing process, because the research to me is so interesting sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do for every single book. I'll do primary, secondary, interviews, and if I can do hands-on stuff, my first YA, My So-Called Bollywood Life, I learned how to splice film together, because that was her job, and I needed to understand how it worked. Radha and Jay's Recipe for Romance, I made all 52 recipes that are referenced in the book.
Oh, wow. I don't often get to do this, but for this particular book, The Invincible Salami Lee, I did go to the Cooper's Hills Cheese Rolling Race, and I was one of those participants. I did not race in the race. If you were familiar with it, the locals, they gather there. They've been doing it for over 200 years, and every bank holiday, they'll roll a wheel of cheese down this hill, and the first person down wins the cheese, and it's very dangerous. But just going there was adventure enough. So that was having that real life experience of going to that event. That was great research.
My most research heavy book was my K-pop books. Not less for the fantasies, because my K-pop books also take place in a contemporary world, and so they had to be factually correct. And also my character plays the cello, and I don't play the cello. So I'm like, oh, I played the harp in high school, but I didn't play the cello. So I did like the emotions, I conveyed the emotions, I think. But my like crowning achievement with that book, it was reviewed on cello.com. And it was like, got a good review. It was like, she described cello playing correctly, and it was great. And I was like, actually, it was, the review wasn't that. The review was more like, it was a great book. It didn't really talk about like cello, but it was reviewed on cello.com. So I was like, yay, I made it. I was so excited. But yeah, for me, for other books, actually, for some of my current books, the way I'll do research is I'll also go to the secondary sources. I'll go to like the history books on like I'll read a lot of Korean history books, and I will take notes. But for me, it's more like I actually read a whole book on Korean architecture. Like I think like 3 or 4 books on Korean architecture because I wanted all the words to use to describe architecture. Like just like words you wouldn't think of, like I don't know, cooler words than beams and cooler words than like. I have to go back to my notebook. But the idea was that I was actually, my notebook was interesting because some of it wasn't even like research, it was just the words. Like how to even like, just some of the words. And so the idea is that I would try to, add them to my word bank was the idea. So when I would describe things, I could pull from my word bank that I curated by just reading a ton of books on architecture.
And last but not least, when I did the last panel, I saw Axio again, and that's when she gave my fiance the 2 extra art prints, and that last panel was so fucking good. It was funny. It was so funny. Like, the person that was moderating it was asking questions, and when the authors didn't answer the questions to what she had in her quotes, because she had quotes from like same questions that these people had been asked before in the past. Like in the past, another moderator had asked these questions to these people, and the moderator today was like, that's not what you said in the past. And she would pull up what they said in the past, and she's like, well, I really liked it when you said this. And like she would begin the segment with, well, I have a question for you guys. She would state the question and she'd be like, I have a quote, but I want to see if it's the same thing that you're going to say since last time. So a lot of the authors were just kind of like, am I going to say what's going to be on the page? And it was like this guessing game, and it became this like really fun thing where it kept happening every time she had a question until like the last like 5 questions. And it was just, it made that panel so interesting because all the authors were just like, they would say their answer and they were like, but what did I say before? Or like they would start off by like, oh, like now I gotta remember what I said years, months. It was just hilarious. So then we finished that panel, and like my back was already hurting, and I was dehydrated, and I was tired, and I was heat exhausted. But I finally got to meet Nisha Sharma. She was super funny on the panel. So was Axio. I feel like Axio was funny on both panels. All the authors on that panel were pretty interesting, and I told her, I was like, I love you on Threads because the way that you post it's always iconic. And she was like, you like my chaotic posts on Thread? And I was like, yes. And she was just like, she gave me this. She gave me this. It's my so-called Bollywood life. She gave me. This book is auntie approved. If Shakespeare was an auntie trilogy. Ugh. Can't wait to read it. Family. She gave me The Letters We Keep. And it's a postcard. I want to read that. And then she gave me this. And I think it's from this book. I can't wait to read any of this. I mean, I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read everything. The way that I worded that was so it confused my brain. But yeah, I'm so happy that I got all these books signed. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 books signed. I had already owned a few of them. And then these books I did not get signed. The authors were not there, but I still got them. I love them. Same with this one. I didn't get signed. It was a blind book, but I love them. 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 But yeah, that was everything. That was the book event. It was fun. I can't wait for next year. I know next year is going to be just as fun. I can't wait to attend next year, get next year's bookmark. Probably still show up early. I showed up early this year. I know I'll probably have to show up a little bit earlier next year because this book was like a smaller event, but I could feel like people are loving this event, and I feel like next year it's going to be bigger, and I'm hoping that it's bigger, and I'm hoping more authors go. I'm hoping Aiden Thomas goes next year. My friend got an Aiden Thomas book, and I was just like, oh, you know, it'd make it better if he was here. If Aiden Thomas went to Vegas and he toured and he was in Vegas, that would have been fun. But yeah, that was the event. That was fun. Also, my fiance got me these. So he got me a little like signature writing Sharpie. It says City of Las Vegas, and then a highlighter. It says City of Las Vegas. Can't wait to use both of them. This will probably be my first autograph writing as an author. Anywhere. I meant to say anyway, but like it came out. Anywhere. That was it. That's it. That's everything. I'm playing with these little bands. Have a good day, guys. Take care. Be safe.